Dear students, in this video we will understand the poem Tartary, which is written by Walter de la Mare. So here we have a picture of Walter de la Mare, who wrote poems first for his own children and then he started writing stories and fairy tales as well. His collections of verse include The Listener's Peacock Pie and Collected Poem. In this poem, the poet imagines an imaginary place called Tartary, and he imagines here that if he were the lord of Tartary, then what kind of scenario he would find there. So let's start. The poet says, "If I were lord of Tartary, myself and me alone, my bed should be of ivory, of beaten gold my throne, and in my courts should peacocks flaunt, and in my forests tigers haunt, and in my pools great fishes slant their fins athwart the sun." So the poet starts saying this way, that if he would be the lord of Tartary, then he only would be there. That's why he says here, me, myself, and me alone. Further, he says, then his bed would be made of ivory, because ivory is a white, creamy substance which is made of elephant's tusk and it is very valuable. His throne, it would be made of beaten gold, and in his court the peacocks would flaunt, they would show off. In his forest, the tigers would visit, they would inhabit his forest. And in his pools, the great fishes, the big fishes, they would lean, they would just move towards the sun. The second stanza, if I were lord of Tartary, trumpeters every day to every meal would summon me, and in my courtyards bray, and in the evening lamps would shine, yellow as honey, red as wine, while harp and flute and mandolin made music sweet and gay. Further, the poet says here that if he would be the lord of, the master of this place called Tartary, then for every meal, whenever he would be called, so he would be called by the trumpeters. Trumpeters would make the sound. That is why it is written here, to every meal would summon me, and in my courtyard bray. Courtyard means an open place, and these trumpeters, they would make sound by playing trumpets to call the lord of Tartary for the meal. And in the evening, the lamps would shine there, and the light of these lamps would be just like yellow as honey and red as wine, while harp and flute and mandolin made music sweet and gay. And at the same time, the musicians, they will play harp, flute and mandolin, and they will produce, they will make beautiful and happy music. Now coming for the third stanza, the poet says, if I were lord of Tartary, I'd wear a robe of beads, white and gold and green they would be, and clustered thick as seeds. And ere should wane the morning star, I'd don my robe and scimitar, and zebra six should draw my car through Tartary's dark glades. So, in this stanza, the poet says that if he would be lord of Tartary, master of Tartary, then he would wear a robe, a garment which is long till knees. That robe, it would be made of beads, okay, and these beads, they would be of white and gold and green color, and they would be all clustered. Clustered means grouped. they would be all clustered, all grouped, together, just like seeds. And ere should wane the morning star, I don my robe and scimitar. And as you know, ere means before, as wane means to decrease something, to when something get dim. And when the morning star, when the morning will decrease, when just before that only, the Lord of Tartary, that means the poet, he would wear. Don means to put on, to wear. He would don his robe, his that beautiful dress which would be made of beads, and those beads would be of white, gold and green color. So he would wear his robe and his scimitar. So what is scimitar here, dear students? Scimitar is a short curved sword, because he would be the lord of Tartary. So that is why he would wear a scimitar. You could see this scimitar which is moving in this picture. And then he would be ready, and zebra 6 should draw my car. And then here car means his carriage. Okay, then 6 zebras, not the horses. Okay, he wants that 6 zebras would draw means to pull here, would pull his carriage, would pull his car through Tartary's dark glades means forest. And then 6 zebras would pull his carried his car through the Tartary's dark glades. Moving for the next and the last stanza. Lord of the fruits of Tartary, her river's silver pale, Lord of the hills of Tartary, glen, thicket, wood and dale, her flashing stars, her scented breeze, her trembling lakes like foamless seas, her bird delighting citron trees in every purple vale. Now, in this stanza, the poet talks about the place Tartary, that how beautiful it would be, and because he would be the lord of Tartary, so whatever things would be there, whether those are fruits, rivers, hills, mountains, valleys, all those things would belong to the lord of Tartary, that means to the poet. And in this stanza, he highlights those things only. So that is why the poet says here, Lord of the fruits of Tartary, that because he would be the Lord of the Tartary, so he would be the Lord of the master of the fruits of Tartary also. Okay, her river silver pale, and the river of the Tartary would be of silver color. Okay, he would be master of the rivers also. Lord of the hills of Tartary, he would be the master, the lord of the hills of Tartary as well. Glen, thicket, wood and dale. So dear students, glen here means open valley, thicket means some bushes, okay, which are all together, or trees, wood means jungle and dale means again valley. So he would be master of glen, thicket, wood and dales as well. Her flashing stars, her scented breeze, and he would be the lord, the master of the flashing, the shining stars of Tartary, and the scented breeze, the good smell which we would, or he would sense there in Tartary. He would be master of that scented breeze as well. Her trembling lakes like foamless seas. Further, he imagines that in that place, the Tartary, the lakes, they would trembling, they would shake, they would show some movement. Okay, and what kind of movement it would show? Like the foamless seas. Foam means bubbles. So when we have sea without bubbles, so that means all calm sea. So here the poet imagines, and he at the same times he compares trembling lake with foamless seas. So he says here that he would be the lord of trembling lakes also, and those lakes, those would be just like the foamless seas. Her bird delighting citron trees, and he would be master of the birds also, which would be delighting, which would be so happy there sitting on these citron trees. Citron means a lemon kind of fruit. So citron trees, he would be master of all the birds of Tartary, which would be sitting happily on citron trees here. In every purple veil, here purple veil means the time of evening, when because of the sunlight effect the valley looks like purple in color. So all in all, the poet wants to say that if he would be the owner, the master, or the lord of Tartary, so he would be master of all those things which would be found in the place called Tartary. So here you could see the flashing stars, the scented breeze, and all these things. Now coming to the poetic devices which we have in this poem, which are rhyming scheme, alliteration, onomatopoeia, imagery, simile, hyperbole, repetition, and personification. So in this poem you can find so many poetic devices. I hope you understood the poem. Thank you very much.